What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network, as well as on the USA Network, because today we're talking Season 1, Episode 12 of Miz and Mrs., an episode entitled It's a Miz-tery. You know, like Mystery, Miz-tery with the Miz's name. I appreciated the pun, but that's besides the point. We kick off the episode with the Miz taking online French classes, which he says are provided by WWE for people that want to go back to school. And I guess you could take online classes, so that's pretty cool that WWE does that. Meanwhile, while the Miz is taking these French classes, Maurice tries to be all nice to the Miz by making him a smoothie and cook some breakfast. And she also breaks down boxes for all the shit that she, orders from online shopping. And that was a whole thing in another episode where she has all these fucking boxes in the garage, and then Miz is the one that has to break them down. She breaks down all the boxes. And then Maurice wants to help Miz learn French. So Miz starts to catch on to this as like, okay, why is she being so nice to me? And Marjo too. Marjo is acting very strange. Very rarely do they do these type of stuff. Do they do this type of stuff for the Miz? Making him breakfast, making him a smoothie, breaking down the boxes, helping him learn French. It's very uncharacteristic of Maurice and Marjo. So Miz is like, thinking twice about all this. Like, okay, why is she doing this? What do you need help with? Why are you being so nice to me? Is there something you're not telling me? And she's like, no, not at all. I can't just be a good wife. And he's like, no, of course you can. And I appreciate it. Thank you. But there's got to be something else going on here. I smell something a little fishy. Also, she drives him to the airport. She drives him to the airport for, to make the next time for WWE. To make the next time for WWE, she drives him to the airport, and it's all strange, because, again, she doesn't ordinarily do this type of stuff. So, again, Miz starts to think there's something else going on here. And she also puts a little teddy bear in his travel bag when he leaves, and he opens it when he gets to where he is, and it's got a teddy bear in his travel bag that speaks French. So Miz tries to, she's trying to help him learn French. So when you squeeze the bear, it speaks French. So Miz has to decode what the bear says, and he finds out that it says, through his Google Translate, that, I love you very much, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. So again, Miz is like, okay, why is she acting all lovey-dovey? What's going on here? So he does up, down, down while at SmackDown. And also while there, he checks in on Maurice and Marjo. And this is one of the things that Miz does that I think is really weird. He kind of checks up. He did this in another episode where he checked up on Marjo when she was watching the house, because he has cameras installed in his house. And clearly Miz didn't learn his lesson the first time, because he did it again here. He listens to a conversation that Maurice and Marjo are having back at the house. So again, this whole thing is fucking weird. I understand he has the cameras installed for maybe to check up on his dogs when they're both not home, or to see if someone's robbing the house or whatever, because it is a nice house. But it seems a little unnecessary to check up on the cameras when his own wife and his mother-in-law are at the house. It seems a little weird. So he checks in on Maurice and Marjo, and this is where the whole French lessons, comes into play here. He checks in on Maurice and Marjo while they're having a conversation at the table, and they're speaking French. So Miz tries to pick up words that they're saying and put it into Google Translate. One of the words that he hears come out of Maurice's mouth is like unse or anse, whatever the fuck it is. And he translates that to be pregnant. And he says it multiple times into his phone. It comes out pregnant every single time. And he's like, holy shit, this is why she's been so nice to me all this time for the last couple of days. This checks out. She's having another baby and she hasn't told me yet. So he's like freaking out about this. Maurice is like, hey, I want to take you out for a drink, Miz. And he's like, no, I want to take you out for a drink. I want to do something nice for you for a change. So he picks up on all the signs that, listen, I know what's going on here. I know you're pregnant, but I'm going to be the one to surprise you. I'm going to be the one to surprise you without you knowing that I know. So I'm going to surprise you with the surprise being that I know before you told me that you're pregnant, because I kind of read the signs and I looked at the cameras and I checked up on you and I was being creepy, and that's how I found out you were pregnant. Yay! So Miz brings in, I think they were in town anyway, Mr. and Mrs. Miz. So fucking George Mizanin making the grand return to Miz and Mrs. here. Always love Mr. Miz. George Mizanin is the fucking man. So while in the car with them, after picking them up from the airport, Miz tells them, Maryse is pregnant. They're like, oh shit, we're going to be grandparents again because we're already grandparents, but it's cool. That's great news. So Miz wants to surprise her. So he goes out, gets all this shit done, gets like cards and gets like all this fancy nice stuff, baby clothes, because he also is at the house and he sees baby clothes. So that was another indicator like, shit, we're having another baby. And they're not Monroe Sky's clothes. These are like newborn clothes. So that was another sign I forgot to mention that he thinks that Maryse is pregnant. So he takes her out for dinner, and while there, surprises her with his fucking confetti, mariachi band. Hey, I know that we're having another baby, blah, blah, blah. Maryse tells him, I'm not pregnant. The mariachi band comes out anyway. Mr. and Mrs. Miz come out from the back to surprise Maryse, saying like, hey, congratulations, and everyone like freaks out and celebrates, and it's great, except for the fact that Maryse is not pregnant, and Miz is sitting there like, oh shit, we gotta call this shit off. They don't hear him. They do the celebration anyway, which was fucking hilarious. And they also reveal, when they go off the air here, that Miz took Maryse to a porn store for their first date, which is absolutely amazing. But yeah, that was it. So basically the episode ends with Maryse telling Miz, I'm not pregnant. Miz has egg on his face. He looks like an ass. And that's it. We never find out why Maryse was being so nice to Miz. Maybe that's a continuation from this episode in episode 13. Maybe that'll be, picked up on in the next episode. Who knows? I'm sure they just did that for effect. Because obviously all this shit is scripted and planned and whatever, and they just wanted a good episode to make people think that Maryse was pregnant, although she's not. So I'm sure all that shit was done on purpose to make Miz think that she was pregnant. I'm sure he was in on it too. But it made for a good show. It was a fine show. Miz being an idiot is always entertaining. So I like this episode, Season 1, Episode 12. It's a Miz-tery. Find that on the USA Network before Episode 13 airs next week. And yes, I did say Episode 13, because I've said the last couple of weeks, I thought this one was the Season 1 finale. It's not. We have another episode coming up next week. I don't know if we have another one after that. I'm sure we do. I think this second half of Season 1 might have 10 episodes as opposed to 6, unlike the first half, which went up to 6 episodes. So we're officially past 6. I don't know if this season or this half of the season has 8 or 10. I guess we'll find out in due time. But either way, we do have a new episode coming up next Sunday, this coming Sunday on the USA Network. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out all my other reviews of Miz and Mrs. right here on the channel. Like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Have a great weekend, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.